What's going on, everybody? Holly Flavor Podcast. This, I believe, is episode number 12. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Holly Flavor Podcast.
Holly Flavor Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? This is the Highly Flavor Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Royal. Today we're just gonna get right into it. Got a few things going on. First, let me get a congratulations out the way. Shout out to Snoop Dogg for getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That's major. What's going on with my video? 1 second. Jeez, having some quick tech difficulties over here. But yeah, shout out to Snoop Dogg for getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That's a huge accomplishment, especially for hip hop artists and things of that nature. He's been doing a lot in his time outside of just music. So, you know, big ups for that. That's pretty dope. So let's get right to the crap, man. We already know, or if you've been just on social media, period. A lot of us have been made aware that 6ix9ine has been arrested. Him and I believe 4, maybe 5 other of his affiliates or ex-affiliates with RICO charges. Coming right off the back of his Breakfast Club interview that he did last week, speaking on right after he fired his team, saying, you know, people stealing money, just business things wasn't in order. So when he was speaking on some of those things, some of it was understandable from an aspect of you don't really know everything that's going on, you don't really see it all, and so he fired his team, and I believe he, you know, has like a label deal or a label affiliation with Elliott Wilson and things like that. So, you know, he started getting like pretty much legit security and things of that nature, and was trying to move or starting to move a little different. He's still a troll. He still was doing the same things on social media, but the people he surrounded himself with was a little different. He spoke on being afraid of the FBI or the feds on the Breakfast Club interview, and then I believe it was Saturday, so a couple days after his interview, whatever the case may be, he was arrested. Now, he was put on probation, obviously, for the people who know, for a lot of things that had led up to his past. Then there was a sexual misconduct of a minor charge that he, I guess, got a plea deal, was pled guilty, was put on probation, and he could no longer rep Treyway or the 9 Trey Bloods or whatever they call it. He couldn't say it in his songs and things like that. So he went on the Breakfast Club saying that, you know, that was something that he just made up. It's imaginary. Pretty much he was trying to clean it up, trying to clean up the look and the image of what that actually was, for his own sake, and I guess maybe for the people around him as well. I don't see it being too many other reasons why besides trying to keep yourself and maybe others out of prison so you can continue to make the money that you were making. So he goes on, he speaks on that, and, you know, the name of that affiliated gang comes up in his documents for the charge that he was arrested on. He's facing a lot of charges. I believe 2, maybe 3 of them could actually warrant life sentences, and that's, of course, that's deep. It's someone's life, they're in prison for the rest of their life. So besides the things that most of us already know, it's rumored, and I'm going to say that it's rumored because I haven't been able to have time to look and confirm too much into it, that they initially went to pick up 6ix9ine for protection. They went to say, hey, you know, pretty much your life is on the line. They had some things in the works, I guess, with people that he was affiliated with, and they went to go say, hey, we're gonna put you in witness protection. And so they took him down to, you know, wherever the FBI takes you. I can't say the precinct. They took him wherever, and he didn't want to do it. He pretty much like, nah, I'm out. I don't want any parts of it. I'm just like, cause that it doesn't look good. Of course, obviously he goes into, you know, in the witness protection, then his whole team gets arrested. After he fires his whole team, he looks like a snitch. So now he goes, and instead of going in witness protection, they say, well, fuck it, we're going to arrest you too. Then now you're part of the problem. So they arrested him too, and now he's in there facing a lot of the same charges that his affiliates or ex-affiliates are facing as well. So here's my thing. They came in for witness protection. You say no, you denied that they locked you up. With everything that's been going on with 6ix9ine, with the trolling, um, the kidnapping, and just things that people don't believe are all the way true all the time, I feel like this could also be one of those things. Not the fact that he was actually arrested. I think the fact that it doesn't look like he's cooperating if he's arrested among the guys who were arrested. But mind you, I just fired all of these guys because I felt like they were a handicap or detrimental to my future success. So I fired all these guys. I was removing all these guys from around me. I didn't want anything to do with them. Not saying that the next move is to get them all booked and things like that, but now he did one thing for self-preservation already by firing all these people that he was supposed to be loyal to from the beginning, and vice versa. They're supposed to be loyal to him as well and not steal money and things like that. So I get it if that was really the case. But now he's dealing with the FBI, and he's like, nah, I'm not just gonna go to a witness protection and my name doesn't pop up on any of these documents. Besides, I'm a witness to whatever. Like, put me on a stand against them. So we're all gonna go down together. So what happens if 6ix9ine is the only person that comes out of this without a lot of the charges that they're putting down? What happens if he comes out of this with no charges? I don't think that's going to happen. I think that he'll be willing to take some type of deal, some type of time, and then come out a year, 3 years, whatever the case may be, but not 25. Not especially not life. Um, a lot of people have already been saying like 6ix9ine, he's not really a gangster. He's not really from the streets. That's not really his thing, and all these other things that go on surrounding his name, outside of the character that he's portraying or attempting to be via social media and music. So now that it's real. So now that you're really in the crosshairs of the FBI and they have you, what's your next move? Like, how do you escape that? How do you get out of that situation without flipping? That's a thing. Like, I don't think there's anybody who would believe he can get out of this without flipping and telling people and taking some type of deal and getting some type of immunity for being the person to help shut down this alleged criminal organization, um, based on how they're viewing them. So you have that going on with all of the other things in his past. So now it affects his probation because, of course, he was never supposed to get in any more trouble. He couldn't represent himself. He couldn't see himself being represented by the gang that he was always claiming, screaming out Treyway and things like that. He couldn't, he wasn't allowed to um, pretty much entice any further violent type actions and things like that via his social media. Pretty much they want him to clean his shit up. And the fact that it seemed like he was right about to do that thing in book, it's very telling. It's very telling. I don't know if how many of these Fed allegations are going to stick, but the Feds are normally undefeated. I don't really know too many stories about when the Feds come in after, they tend to build a pretty solid case before they actually come out and get you. So they have stuff from like 2013, 2012, possibly even. But I've seen like some things we are talking about in 2013. This happened, then this happened in 14, and this happened in 15, and then in 17. Like, they have like a paper trail of things that they were just tracking and keeping notes of, and to build this case. And you're here now. So, they're pretty undefeated in that aspect. So it's very difficult for me to even believe that he's going to get out of this without flipping on these guys. And obviously that's frowned upon in the streets. It's not something that you would really that you're supposed to do. You're a gangster. You do the crime, or if you don't do the crime, you get booked for it or whatever. You keep your fucking mouth shut. You keep it moving. We'll see how the rest of this unfolds. This is going to be an ongoing thing. It's going to take some time, and as the FBI leaks, not leaks, but releases more documents about the case, moving forward, or the journalists that are allowed in the courtroom start bringing out some information, we'll know more. If a plea deal was put in place, or if he gets less time than all of these other guys based on the crimes that he's accused of, or based on the crimes they accuse of him. Like, I don't see him being a murderer, so if one of them getting a murder rap, I don't see that falling on him. But maybe being associated to the crime, or something like that, maybe. But I don't see him being a murderer. They say he was but he has like had they had like a conspiracy to murder someone else. They were conspiring to murder someone else. Same thing about an alleged robbery. They're saying that he was one of the people there. I don't see 6ix9ine being like the trigger man. I don't see him being the guy that's like the gun in your face, run that watch nigga. Like, I don't see him being that person, but I do see him being around. Like, I could see that. You could see anybody being around. You're amongst your peers. They do stupid shit. Sometimes you're there, and you don't stop it, but you also, like, all that type of shit. So it I don't know. Like, it's real for him now. It's kicking in. It's like, that this is what comes with that. Like, this Fed shit is what comes with trying to be in a gang, like a legit gang that's doing crime and things like that. Yeah, you gave back to the community. You said you gave it all this money and stuff like that, but it doesn't clean up your past, so to speak, on crimes. And they're trying to catch you before statute of limitations on some of these things run out. So they build the case and they come get you right at the tail end of when some of these things may start to run out. And I'm no lawyer. I don't know all of the timelines and things like that as far as when they do run out. But that's what makes sense to me, just from the outside looking in. Now that they have them, I just want to see what happens. I just want to see if they're going to put most of the tougher charges on the other affiliates that were arrested along with him, or maybe not even just 6ix9ine. Maybe someone else flips, because maybe someone else is like, I don't want to do life in jail either. I'll take 5, I'll take 10, and I want to get out. So we'll see. I think it's about to be a whole nut show. Um, it's just unfortunate. I think I got an album dropping on Friday. Um, I believe it still might drop, especially now. You need as much money as you can get for your lawyer fees and things like that. It's just unfortunate because I feel like he was trying to now detach himself at least slightly from that gang culture and just get more engulfed into the rap and hip hop scene and do more as far as entertainment, and it catch you on the tail end. That he had an option of witness protection or get arrested and look like you're amongst your peers, and he chose the latter of the two. I'm gonna look like I'm amongst my peers. I'm gonna look like I'm still the gangster. I'm gonna look like, And then if he beat it, in my eyes, there's no way. Like I said, if he beats this, in my eyes, he's a snitch, and it changes my whole perspective of respect for him. How I think people will view him. My perspective is just I don't care too much about his personal life. I only care about the entertainment aspect. As long as he's not like, doesn't matter. I only care about the music when it comes to 6ix9ine. Um, so yeah, that's neither here nor there. So as this develops, I will try to stay in front of the news as much as I can on this situation, because it seems to be a very hot topic and hot button moving forward, just to see what happens with him and his freedom. So I'll stay on top of it, even if I have to like jump in and drop a little podcast clip every now and then on an off day. Um, that's pretty much it, man. It's nothing really. Shout out to Cardi B. She had her Fashion Over launch between the time of the last podcast and now, and I think she made like $10 million, or Fashion Over, I believe, made whatever the case. $10 million was made in like a 3 to 4 hour time span of the event. They had a lot of female artists performing. Um, so shout outs to her, for doing some good business. That's a good thing to actually be able to report on, that she's doing some good business and it's not some nutty club shit or uh some stupid social media shit, and she's just out here talking how she talks and people making uh fun or creating phrases from her dialect her dialogue. um I don't know really any too much more news that really happened in the entertainment industry that's interesting enough for this platform for me to like elaborate on. Couple albums dropped over the weekend. I think that Jaden Smith had the best hip hop album of the weekend, just in my opinion, from the group of people who are the youngs and this and things like that, and the younger brass of the entertainment hip hop side. I think he had a very very good project. Um, Highly creative. Hit a lot of different pockets as far as the songs that he had. It wasn't just like one style throughout, which I really like. He's really he's all over the place, but it's very, I don't know. It just seems very well put together. Not just I like this song and it's ran like it and it flows well. So it was a pretty good album as far as my opinion. City Girls drop. I'm not a huge fan. Um, I don't know. I have a real bias to like the East Coast style, Philadelphia, New York area type of vibe when it comes to listening to rap for the most part. I mean, I like the swag rap every now and then, like stuff from the Migos every now and then, like all that stuff. I like it, but when it comes to listening to people, especially when they first go around, I'm really into like how they sound and the cadence and things like that. I'm not really into how the City Girls sound. They sound like a really really early on Trina with less rapping ability. So it kind of waters it down more and more for me, because that style, like some of the southern rap and like really really far like that West Coast rap, you can distinctively tell where someone's from when they rap a certain way, and I just can never really bop with it. They got a couple songs on them that are okay, but it's not for me. It's really for like, this is the City Girls, like they're really just for the women alone, like period. Like there is literally just for they can be ratchet, they can twerk to some shit, they can and they talk about the same thing on every track. Every track is, getting money from some nigga or fucking a nigga who got money and twerking and spending and buying shit. Granted, when guys rap, we rap about the same shit too. We rap about monies and cars and clothes and clubs and stuff like that. But it's not the same. The sound is not the same as far as enjoying it, like taking in that content. So I wasn't a fan. But it's their first projects, and QC knows what they're doing. I do think they know what they're doing as far as getting the numbers. Um, I think that they really shouldn't be quality control. There should be quantity control, just based on the artists that they have and how they put music out. But that's neither here nor there. They're good at controlling their market space. I just don't think that they're not TDE, in the sense of they're not looking for the best talent to cultivate and put out good projects. They're looking for the talent who can put out music in bulk and just control the streams, try to get the marketing and just stay in front of your face. So their approach to the game is pretty different. And of course, if I had to choose between the two, I'm going TDE all day, because they just have better tier of artists on their roster. So That's just my opinion on that. I don't really know. I don't really remember too much of what's going on. I listened to about five of the new albums that came out hip hop wise this weekend. I only remember uh Jaden Smith's, and I only remember City Girls just because I had another conversation via social media with some other people about it, and then you see a lot of the women dropping the City Girls line or a track, or City Girls got me in here twerking, all types of stuff. So they're pretty simplistic to me, and I think that's a, I guess that's a good thing for them. You know, the women like them. That's all that really matters. It's on them. So outside of that, I don't know anything else. Creed comes out on Thursday. Creed 2 comes out on Thanksgiving Day. So, I'm not really too excited to go see it, but I think I am going to catch it sometime this weekend. Um the that soundtrack dropped. I don't like it. If anyone is like, soundtracks aren't the same. The Black Panther soundtrack this year is probably the best soundtrack for a movie in a long time that had a lot of hip hop on it. I think that was really good. But this Creed 2 sound, I'm not really feeling it. It's this is not. I don't know. I think Mike Will lost with this one in a sense. He could have. I think he could have did a lot better. I think he could have got a lot better artists. I think only like maybe two, three of the songs on it, maybe four. I think two of them are like singing like R&B tracks. I got like the last track with LMA, super dope. The opening track with Wayne, I like it. There's like one track I think with Thugger and Sway Lee. I believe it's on this project. That I like that one. And there's another one with a different female that was singing, and I like that. So about four tracks I really like and enjoy. Oh, and I think it's another one with Nicki on there. Is that on this one? If the one with Nicki Minaj on this, I like that one too. Nick, I think it's just her features. She's very great at doing features. She's one of the she always has dope features in my opinion. So, but that's about it. That's about all the projects I listened to over the weekend. I'm not. I, I go through it. I listen. If it doesn't, I go back and listen sometimes, and I'll be like, all right, it's okay second, third time around. But if nothing makes me want to even go back to listen again, I'll be like, I'm off it. Nothing really sat well with me as far as musical in the musical realm. So I leave it alone. Um, Moving forward, so there's a lot of things going on social media as far as topics on, of course, same stuff, relationships and raising kids and all these types of things. So there was a report that came out. Matt Barnes had commented on child support, and he was saying like it doesn't take $60,000 to raise a kid, and so I shared the post on my Facebook, and of course I agree with that. Being a father myself, someone who has experience, who isn't spending 60,000 a year um on my children, so I get it, and I agree with it. I put the post up. There are some women who agree, and they just say, I agree, and they keep it moving. It's never really too much to talk about with the women who agree, but the ones who disagree, um, I like to engage in conversation with them because I try to understand more where they're coming from. I try to understand more of their personal situation without really trying to ask, because sometimes they won't forfeit that information, or they'll lie so to help prove their own point. So I go through like a series of um debatable points on why I agree, and sometimes they don't really have a good reason why they disagree. It's just, one young lady says, um, you can't really tell someone else how much it costs to raise their own children, and I say, well, you can. You can tell them that, especially if you are a parent. Saying that you can, meaning I can say it really doesn't cost that much to raise a child because I'm raising a child myself and I'm not spending that much myself. So, not saying because if you got it, you should just do it because you have it. And it's like, hey, if you got $1 million, why wouldn't you want to spend $500,000 a year on your cake because you got it like that and you're living this life? It's like that doesn't matter. What my point on the whole thing is, I'm talking about if you don't have the bare necessities doesn't cost a child $60,000 a year. Regardless, I'm talking just standard survival, food, clothing, shelter, your education, things like that. You don't have to have these things at a luxurious standpoint just because you have money. We're talking about needing to have something and wanting to do something. That was my only argument. Yes, if you have the money to send your kids to the best school possible and that's what you want to do and your child agrees too, because you also sometimes you got to talk to your kids. Sometimes your kids don't want to be in these elite schools with these corny ass kids not building a real strong social life because everybody got their fucking head up their ass and they're snobby because all of their parents are rich. I I need to look up. I need to look up statistics on how many of them become a lot of the stars that we see today, a lot of the celebrities, or just a lot of the rich people in general that we see today. How many of those people become some of the best people that we look at on a daily basis? Most of the things I hear about the top notch athletes, they don't come from the best elite private schools I ever heard of. A lot of them come up through the public school system. You know, they play in the roughest neighborhoods. They play some of the strongest, fastest, toughest kids, and they go on and they become professional athletes. And then their whole backstory is how they got out of the slums, how this and the third. The only, the only sporting position that I normally see when they had it so great and they just go on, it's like quarterbacks. You know, you hear about, oh, they went to this prep academy, this and the third, and they go on to this college because they did this in their high school, and then they were great. Okay, cool. But every other thing else, the running backs, the black running back, and I'm speaking on like, you know, the African American culture, the black culture. If we, some of those things build a lot of our character. That those social interactions with different people, learning what to do and what not to do, and some of it does get us in trouble as well. So what I'm saying is, just on the lines of when Matt Barnes spoke on the child support thing, I agreed with it because we look at a lot of these in society today. We see a lot of stories about women taking these athletes to court or taking these celebrities to court, and they get an absurd amount of money a month. Now, granted, some of these women are like, there's some of them are actors, but you never really see them acting anything. Some of them are doing music, but some of them aren't really popular. They're not really in the music game. They just want to do music, and they go to the studio and they might have dropped a single on Spotify because it's easy to get on these platforms now. Um, but most of them are doing like what's new. The IG thing. I'm taking pictures. I'm sexy. I'm trying to get a little Fashion Nova bag here, a little protein powder deal here, things like that. But the father, who's making millions or hundreds of thousands or whatever, is paying like an absurd amount of money. Like what Blake Griffin was paying, like what, 125,000 or something crazy. Whatever it was a lot of money. It's a lot of money to have a father pay 10 grand or 15 grand or $20,000 a month or $37,000 a month because he makes a lot of money. And then you look and the mother is living this lavish lifestyle off of that money. That's insane. In my opinion, that's insane. I put up a post and said, I was piggybacking off of that conversation of Matt Barnes and a lot of the things I was talking to with some of the women on there. I said, you have this scenario, you go to court and the mom is like, well, I don't work right now, I don't really have a stable home, but I think my kid should stay with me. And the dad comes and says, well, I have millions of dollars, I have a stable job, and I have investments, a stable home. I think my kids should come live with me. And the judge turns around and says, okay, dad, I order you pay $15,000 a month. You get your kids for 3 days, and the mother gets the kids for 4 days, meaning making her the primary parent. And I said, how is that even acceptable? Like, how are we in a time where the most stable parent still won't have access or won't get granted the custody of the children based on whatever their lifestyle is? It doesn't matter because one person comes in and says that they're not stable. I don't work, I'm not stable, I don't have my own house, but he does, but I should have the kids. It doesn't even make sense. One, for a mother to go in to say something like that, I think that it's kind of selfish. I think it's a very selfish thing to go in and say, hey, listen, I really can't do what he can do for the kids, but I should have the kids and he just pay me child support so I can do what he can do for the kids. And then they take that money and they spend it on themselves. Like, if you can't do for yourself, if you can't do none of those things, you don't have a job and you don't have a stable home, and I started paying an elaborate amount of child support, and now you have this home, a nice house. I'm supposed to be like, oh, that's what's up, cool, because my kids live there. It's a-okay that I'm paying for her house. And then it's like, she didn't drive nothing nice before. She had a fucking 97 fucking Corolla, and now she got this, Benz or Audi or whatever, and it's coming out of my money, and you're like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be like, okay, it's cool because my kids ride around in that car, so it's cool. I'm paying for it, but it's cool. It's not about that. It's not about us men not saying that we don't want to do stuff for our children. We don't want to do stuff for the ex. We don't want to do stuff for. It might not even be an ex. It might just been a one night stand or a groupie that preyed on this guy just for the check. So it's crazy that we're looked at and we're frowned upon when we say that's an absurd amount of money to pay for child support because it doesn't take that much money to raise a kid. Especially if you're a parent. Like, if you're a parent, you can say those things because you're living that life. You're living the life of being a parent. You might not be rich, but yeah, like, I don't see me spending $60,000 a year on my kid if I was rich. Unless wherever I move to and the school tuition is just so high and I don't have a choice but to send them to that school. That's the only school close enough or whatever the case may be, and the tuition is ridiculous and it's going to cost me 55,000 a year. You know, that's ridiculous, but if that's my only option, now I have to do that. But if it's not, I'm going to go with another option. Just because of where I'm from. Yes, I want my kids to have the best, but I'm also not going to waste money just because I have it. Because that could go to something else. That could go into a fund for them when they get out of college or go off to college. I could be taking $40,000 a year and throwing it into a bank account for them or something like that for them. Letting them accrue some interest and keep it moving. It's the mentality of it for me. The mentality of when people say you can't tell someone else how much it costs to raise their kids. The government does it all the time. They sit down and they come up with this is how much it costs to raise a child from this age to this age on average in the United States. I think the number is like $233,000. $233,000 to raise the average home for a child from birth to 18 was like $233,000. It broke down to like $12,000 a year, something like that. So of course it's like $1,000 a month. Of course, within all of that, you factor in your living expenses, your rent, your light, your food, and all that stuff. Everything's factored in. Their clothing, all of that stuff is factored in. So it came out to like, let's say $1,100 a month. $1,100 a month. Some of those expenses are shared expenses because you both are living in the home because you're paying the rent, the water. So some of those are shared things amongst yourself. It's not just them. So we can say it doesn't cost that much, because then one of the young ladies, she was also talking about like, well, if you get, if you're rich, you're not going to be shopping at Walmart and this, that, and the third. How do you know where how do you know where people shop at just because they have money? Walmart is online. I can order stuff from Walmart and get it sent to my house. Just because I'm rich, why wouldn't I still shop at Walmart? I probably wouldn't go to Walmart, but I would shop at Walmart. I barely go to anything to shop anymore anyway. I order a lot of the stuff that I need. I just order it online. I'm to the point where I'm buying deodorant and stuff and just having it sent to my house because I don't feel like going to Walmart and waiting in line. So you can't sit here and be like, oh, they're not going to have, we're not going to go around the corner and buy clothing and outfits and stuff from Foot Locker and Sneaker Villa or whatever the case may be. You're going to be shopping at Gucci and Louis and blah, blah, blah. Who says that? I'm not a fan of half of that stuff now, with or without money. I'm just not a huge fan of the brand anyway. Regardless of the brand, I think some of the stuff is ridiculously high for no apparent reason at all. So it's not about just having money. It has a lot to do with also knowing how to spend your money and what's more important to spend your money on. So see, another thing is like you trying to say, they were saying like you can't take the kids away from this lifestyle, and I'm looking at like, what lifestyle? Children's lifestyles are based on the lifestyle that their parents provide them. Period. So if I'm living a certain lifestyle, if I'm the father and I got a lot of money and I'm rich and I'm living this lifestyle, my children were with me all of this time, and then me and the mom break up and the mom moves away back to wherever she want to move to, and then now I have to support her lifestyle as well as theirs by giving them something that was equal to what it was when we were together. And it's like, I don't see the fairness in me having to support the mother's lifestyle, because her lifestyle has to change because me and her are no longer together. So it's a lifestyle change. So if the children want to have the same exact lifestyle, why can't the children just stay with the father, the one who can provide that lifestyle, because he's the one that was providing it from the beginning? Instead of just he only gets visitation on these days, but he got to pay this amount of money, and it creates a lot of turmoil. Um, in my opinion, because you don't. I feel like nobody should be able to dictate how much of a better life a child would have because they live with their mother, because it's not always true. Um, I think that the we are like, most of us know and agree that the judicial system, especially in child support and things like that, it's very very biased uh when it comes to figuring out who the child stays with, who pays the majority, or like who gets the all of that stuff. We know it's very very biased, and I talked about that in some of my posts when we were talking about this child support issue. It's just the money of how much, not the fact that I think that yes, paying child support is not the worst thing in the world. Like, you should be providing something for your child and theory, but a lot of guys feel like if I provide X amount of hundreds of dollars, maybe even $1,000 a month, depending on my income, um, I shouldn't have to do anything extra. Um, Outside, I shouldn't be required to do anything extra outside of that. Like, it shouldn't be an argument. So if I'm giving you X amount of dollars a month based on what the judge told me to give you, don't call me and say, hey, I need an extra. Can I? And then get mad when I say I don't have it, or no, whatever the case may be. That's what a lot of guys' argument is. Not the fact that we don't want to do it. We just feel like we shouldn't be required, and you shouldn't get mad about it. Um, the 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 issue, the thing about as far as providing a lifestyle, I had asked a question. I said, so infants have a lifestyle? That's what I asked. I said, do infants have a lifestyle? Brand new baby just came into the world. The parents are not together. The dad's a celebrity. The mom isn't. And they go and, immediately is in child support court because she needs support. She just had a baby. She needed support. Cool. But what lifestyle does this child have at this moment that just got, they just came out. They just got to this world. And one of the girls was like, yes, absolutely. I'm like, how? What lifestyle does a brand new baby have? They just got here. They don't know anything. And what I mean by that is they don't know anything on the lines of they don't know that they live in a mansion. They don't know that the mom drives a Benz. They don't know that they could potentially be going to an elite private school. They don't know any of that. They just know, I need love, hold me, feed me, like keep me warm. I want to feel your heartbeat. They know those things, the nurturing things early on. That's their lifestyle. Their lifestyle is, are they being nurtured? It has nothing to do with money. Do you think an infant needs $12,000 a month, $37,000 a month? What infant? And I'm saying from the aspect of I'm talking about a healthy child. I'm not speaking on a kid who may have medical issues and that aren't covered by their medical insurance. And you got to pay out of pocket. And I got the money, so I'm spending this every month because my child needs it for their health. That's different. I'm speaking on like a completely average health or healthy child, brand new. It's it's disgusting because and I had told a story on it because I was saying like how a lot of people say if you really want your kids in your life, like in your home, not just in your life, in your home, you want to raise, you'll continuously go to court and fight for that right. And I said I agree to an extent because especially if you have other children too. One, doing that, you taking away time from your other kids, only fighting for maybe one child, or your other. It's kind of like it's hard. How does the other kid view that? Two, you're taking away from the things that you are doing that makes you that money to supply the lifestyle you're giving because you have to continuously go to court. Three, if it's an older child, now you're putting through them through the ringer because all you see is the mom and dad fighting over you. Like I want them to live with me. No, they're gonna live with me. And I'm gonna come back and ask for an increase on the child. All that stuff because now you're arguing, you're bitter, and now they're just fighting over dumb things. And the dad can go to jail. It's like anything you do, you could be in contempt of court, you could miss a payment, all types of things could go on. I've personally experienced a judge telling me, okay, pay this right now or go to jail. Like going in for joint custody, partial custody, whatever the case may be, and someone asks for something else, and then the judge agrees and they're biased towards the male, and then they say, well, this is what we're going to do, this is what we came up with, and outside of the money I already put down that day, I was asked to put down more money or go to jail. So I have experience in that field. Granted, I don't have millions, I don't have hundreds of thousands, but I'm part of the system, and I'm speaking from experience on how it doesn't make any sense. You know, if you're living off of, let's just do easy numbers, rich people easy numbers. If you're paying $10,000 a month in child support, and you've been paying $10,000 a month in child support, let's take a basketball player. You're on a 4-year contract. Whatever the effect out of that, you're getting $10,000. So you're getting $10,000 a month from this guy for 4 years. After the 4 years, he's played so well in whatever professional sport he's playing in, gets another contract. That contract now goes up. You, as the other parent, you go to court and say, hey, he's now making this amount. I'm filing for an increase. Mind you, for 4 years, you were living off of $10,000 a month. But now you're going back and you're going to ask for $25,000 a month because he done tripled his worth on his new contract. Tell me where does that become right? When we already know you can sustain a child in life off of $10,000 a month, why should you now argue that $25,000 is the next thing or whatever the court says that's an increase? That's where my problem and my bias comes in that because we've watched you do it for this long period of time on this, but yes, now we're going to give you more because he got more, so you get more. I don't think that's right. I personally don't think that's right. I don't think anybody should have to go in and say, you survived 4 or 5 years off of this amount. But I agree. I think you should get more. And you're looking at them like, how is that even a thing? Like, how is that possible? But that's what we deal with in that system. We go and get a better job, and the other parent finds out. I'm not even going to just say the mom. I just want to keep it as unbiased as possible, even though a lot of it goes towards men, and that system has failed men dramatically. I'll just say the other parent, because there are some women paying child support. Yes, I know, but the stats are way left than they are way right. That's the point. Um, to be able to ask for more money after living off of something for an extended period of time and you're granted that just goes to show how much the system isn't for one. It isn't really for men, but black men even more so. um I've seen I've seen so many of the craziest cases just regarding child support and things like that. It's odd because one, there were some women who didn't even have kids who were talking about. I'm like, you have no idea. You shouldn't even be part of this conversation because you don't know. You have no idea what it's like to be on either side of that fence. So stay out of it. You know, um, it's just upsetting that you have people who think that it's okay to live off of money when it's not supposed to be for you, but then have the audacity to ask for more when you do better in your life. You know, regular guys go up, they get an advancement in their work, or they change jobs to get something else, and then the bitter or non-bitter, just supporting, just knowing how the system works, other parent go in and be like, hey, they got a better job. I need to find out how much they're making. I'm filing for an increase. You get a better job. I get a better job. That's how you look at it, and that's not fair. Especially if you've been living off a certain amount of money for all this time, and the court sees that you can sustain that and everything is okay. They should just be like, you know what? Nah, what you was getting was fine. Keep it moving. Stop coming in here asking for more money because he's doing better for himself. It's a setback. What's the point of getting a better job if I go and get the better job, then all of the extra money I was getting to make my life better now goes to you? I was saying that, you know, being in the bartender industry, just being in the nightclub industry, I used to see, women. I've only ever seen women, and I'm not saying men never did it. I used to see women come into the club and spend the money straight off of that card that they give you for your child support on drinks, buying stuff for you and all your friends and hookah and all. I've seen it. I've seen it, and I don't think it's right. I think it's like, a lot of men go and just argue like, okay, if I'm giving you $1,000 a month, I need to see $1,000 in receipts come back. Why can't I have proof that all that money is going to my kid? I don't care if you're going to pay your rent. I don't, like all that stuff. It's like whatever you do with it, I need to see where it's going. I don't think I should have to. If your rent is $800 a month, I shouldn't have to. My 1,800 of that shouldn't go to the rent, and then the other $200 go to your food in your house, and then you come and ask me, hey, I need some money because the kid needs sneakers and clothes and blah blah. Because we're gonna turn like I just gave you a stack. What are you talking about? Yeah, but I had to pay rent and this and you're like, yeah, but that's your place. Like my child shouldn't have to pay half of the adult's rent. That's how I look at it. That's how I see it. If I'm giving you money for child support and you're paying wherever you chose to live in that place, if you couldn't afford it on your own, because if I wasn't paying my child support, you wouldn't be able to afford where you stay. That's how some people don't plan their lives like that. Some people don't look at it like, well, what if I don't have it? Like, what if they just be like, no? Or what if I die and all you get is some social security check or whatever? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so many factors in place that you can't factor in how much you're getting in child support into what you can afford in rent. You shouldn't do that. You should say, hey, this is what I can afford on my own. This is what I can pay for completely. This is what I can cover in electric and gas and water and food and rent on my own if this other person cannot be around to assist me with our child. And then everything else should be extra. So now the child can live this quote unquote lavish life because it's like, hey, I took 200 of that and put it toward the rent and bills and food and stuff because that's all I needed extra. Everything else go to the kid. I throw a little bit in the bank account. I put some shoes on their feet, some new shoes, clothes, blah, 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 new toy game, whatever the case may be. and you keep it moving. But it doesn't happen that way. We always ask for receipts, but we don't get it. They're like, it doesn't matter. As long as your child's healthy and we go and we check in if we need to, long as, like, and it doesn't matter. But no, it does matter because why are they asking for an increase? What do they need an increase for if they lived off of this for 4 years? Now what they need an increase for? Oh, you saw I just signed a new contract. Okay. But did your rent change? Did your electric change? Your water change? Your bill change? Your car note change? The tuition in my kid's school change? Like what? What changed? So now it warrants you to get more money. These are the issues that we have just with the system, and that's only family court. So again, it just throws me off when men and women can't come to this equal place and say, this is what is or what should be acceptable. This is right. Like we should be talking about what is right, not from the perspective of the father who's mad at the child's mother, not from the perspective of the mother who's mad at the child's father, from the perspective of what do we think is right morally, the standard of living, like what do we think is right. There are women out here who don't want the court system involved with their lives at all, period. With or without the dad, they're going to get it done. There are women out here who use it as a weapon. There are men out here who try to use it as a weapon as well. Um, and then there are men out here who come, and most of these are the situations that I see with the men. Most of the men who take their kids and raise them on their own, they normally never ask the mom for nothing. They don't go dragging through court. They just keep it pushing. Majority that I've seen in my personal experience. And I don't see it being a majority of women. Not to knock it. Like, yes, you need the help. If you need the help from the father, go and get it. I'm not saying don't go and get it. I'm not saying you shouldn't be awarded child support, anything like that. What I'm saying is that we're holding ourselves to different standards and metrics. And when we try to explain ourselves as men as to why we think things are wrong, we don't, like, we get a lot of pushback instead of just being like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right, and that doesn't sound right. If it doesn't sound right, don't try to make like, well, maybe it was this. No, maybe it wasn't. We got to come up with better ways to co-parent. That's my whole thing. If you bitter, get over it. I don't care the reason. That the child is always innocent. I don't care the reason. Get over it. Get through it. Raise a kid. Stop attacking people's pockets. Stop attacking people's character when you go to court. All of those things. Because what's crazy is like you go in and sometimes you have the right to put that person in prison in court. I've been there. I know this is experience. They could go in and say, hey, they say they can offer you this right now, and then we'll break up the payments for whatever you owe. I remember I was like 2 months behind before. I was transitioning between jobs, 2 months behind. And I'm like, hey, listen, I start this new job next week. When I start, I can just get right back on my payments, blah, blah, blah. What do you want to do, ma'am? I don't know. You should go, do you want to go forward with further actions or would you like to wait? Further actions. That meant get locked up. Literally, right there in court. Put me in handcuffs and said, hey, listen, if you can't find a way to come up with, this is 2 times it's happened to me. If you can't find a way to come up with this X amount of dollars by this time today, we're taking you up. I haven't decided how long I'll send you there. I can send you there for up to 120 days. Mind you, while you're in court, whatever you owe, it still continues to grow. It doesn't stop. You're not doing time to erase the money. You're just doing time because they feel like putting you in jail. Contempt of court, or whatever whatever they're calling it, and failure of payment, whatever. But these are the things we face in the system. Like, it's a shitty system, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make too much sense with things like that are allowed to happen. If I don't pay, I go to jail. But then I still can't pay you in jail, but I'm still taxed like I need to be paying. If you lock me up for 120 days, What am I gonna? How am I making money for those 120 days, and it's not coming off my child support? So I'm in jail. I come out. I don't. If I had a job, I no longer have one. So now I gotta. Now I have to take more time to try to find another job, and that takes more time. And then what? I'm back in court before I find a job because I was locked up. Then I came back out, and then you hit me back up saying, "Hey, you still ain't paid." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I was in jail." The cycle's crazy. That's what I'm saying. So to put somebody in that cycle because you're upset, it's crazy because sometimes once they're in it, they can't get out. Even if you guys make amends, you go down there and do what? You drop it? It's happened. I've seen it. It's happened to me. But it's ugly in the process. Get away from it, man. Like, figure it out on your own. Talk amongst each other. Come up with an agreement. Keep yourselves out of the system. Because not only are they in the system, you're in the system too. All the guy got to do is get mad, start making claims that you're abusing the kids. And it's no way they're not going to check that. It's no way in hell they're not going to check that. Now, he's a deadbeat dad and you're an abusive mother. Because y'all mad at each other. You see what I'm saying? So, figure that shit out. Figure it out. Figure it out. Well, it's nasty. The system in itself is nasty. Get over it. I wanted to talk about trying to transition away from that. I could talk about that for a long time. Uh, I wanted to talk about social media and relationships in general. I'm only going to talk about it briefly, then I'm just going to end the podcast because this is something that I could talk about for a long time. I've also seen a lot of posts over the past couple of weeks. It's getting cold, people. So everybody trying to get booed up and all this other stuff. And I was saying something. I put up a post just saying like how um we have like the women who one day they like, hey, single life is so good, it's great, fuck it, I don't need no man, blah blah blah. They don't, no man could treat me how I treat myself, all these other things. And then the same girl be up there a month later, either should be like in love with somebody or no face, no tracing, all this other stuff. The next thing you know, they're not together no more, and it's shaping all over again. She knew it, and so it's weird. And but everything seems to follow like these fads. You're looking at all these different memes. They put a meme up, and then 100 other women share the same meme, and it's funny, and it's for them it's funny and it's cute and things like that. And the guys sit back and be looking like, this is wild. This is wild how at the same time we found this wave of a whole bunch of women who are seemingly thinking the same thing, or some of them just think that the meme was funny and they shared it, and they might be in the best relationship of their lives. But I say that to say, going into bringing social media into your relationships, um a lot of the times I don't see it ending too well. I don't see it going too well. I don't see it ending too well. I'm an advocate of, before I get like further into it, I'm an advocate of not putting too much of your personal life on social media. Period. Mainly myself. The only reason I apply that to myself early on is because I was doing music like that, like MySpace days I was a kid. Facebook days I was an adult and I started getting into music and things like that, and I saw how some of the other people were navigating. I'm talking as like famous and rich people were navigating the media, keeping a lot of their personal lives just as secretive as possible. So I'm an advocate of that. I didn't share too much of my children, maybe some accomplishments, maybe some birthdays, and I even slowed that down a little bit. The person that I'm with, I normally try to keep it under. Like, I don't really like exposing too much of my personal life. Now, did anyone I was with during that time, did they always agree? No. Even when I explained it that way, like I have a thing. It's protecting. I really look at it as protecting what's yours. They don't always agree, but it's honest. That's me being 100% honest. It's not me being like sneaky. None of those things were factual. It's just me saying like this from day one. I'm not going to do this. This is why. And if it's really an issue, I don't really know what else to tell you because I'm always going to be that way. Um, So fast forward into now, and you see a lot of people who are, again, 1 week they're single, 2 weeks later they're in a relationship, and they're talking about their relationship and how it's so wonderful and things like that. And then 2 weeks later they're broken up and all niggas is trash and all this stuff like that. It's like when do we, or what do the mass like? Do we all sit here and say like social media isn't the best place to have a relationship? Because I look at it like this: if you take your relationship to social media and you're going through and there's all of the accomplishment and life is so great and vacation and all of this stuff, and you're sharing this and sharing this, when something bad happens, do you share that too? And a lot of people will be like, nah, you keep your bad stuff out, you put the good, like blah blah blah. But what's happening is you're putting your life in front of all these people, and the people who are following you now are engulfed into your life. They want the good and the bad, especially in this era when we're talking about everything is reality TV. You know, we're loving hip hopping it down and all this other stuff. So everything is like follow your love life. We need to see the good and the bad. We need to see the balance. People want to see the rise and the fall of almost everything. How does this end? How does this story end? So we go on and we sit here and we talk about, we're talking about all this stuff in relationships, and we're posting it on our social media, and we're saying, my spouse is great, my spouse is amazing, oh my god, look what they brought me today, oh my god, we're going to Cuba tomorrow, oh my god, look at the new car, oh my god. And then something bad happens, and let's say both of you guys were posting all of these happy things all the time. Whatever good the accomplishments, the good and bad, and you guys were posting all together. And then you go and you say something bad happens, and let's just use the guy for an example, because we'll get more slack for this than the females. The guy go and he'll say whatever bad happened in that situation, he'll post about it, like directly. And then you spaz out and be like, why the fuck are you putting our business on social media like that? It's confusing now, because we went this whole relationship up until something bad happened, posting everything that we were doing, everything that was going on with us, everything about us. We were super hype and Joe. But soon as something bad, now I have to be private and keep it to myself, when we were living through the public eye all this time. This is where social media becomes tricky, because now me and you are navigating through social media with a different mindset, because you're navigating and you only want to paint the best imagery of yourself. You're sitting here saying like everything about my life is great. I'm painting the imagery of everything about my life is real. I have good days and I have bad days. We have good days and we have bad days. But what shouldn't I be allowed to post? Because me, I'm looking at it like this: I'm human. You're human. We all make mistakes. We all gonna do. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, if it was something crazy, like, oh, I can't believe that she just had sex with my brother the other day, and I posted about it. I would. That's crazy. That's super crazy. But I'm speaking on like an argument, a disagreement about something, and maybe he's going to social media to try to get some clarity. Like, hey guys, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? Because me and my girl is having an argument about it. I don't disagree. I think her idea is dumb, and I think that I'm, this and another. And you go and you ask about it, and now she's mad at you because people are thinking, especially if a lot of the people disagree with her idea. Now she think you're trying to play her. Now I'm a fucking idiot and you're trying to clown me on your page. You see, like, it goes into this downward spiral of, it was great when we were talking about these things and horrible when we were talking about these things. So what's acceptable on social media and relationships now? Like, where do you hold your standards? What do you say? What do you do? What are you allowed to do and not do? Because I feel like women feel like they could do whatever they want on social media as far as their relationship goes. Some of them decide to keep their life a secret as much as possible until they feel like that relationship is solid enough to show the guy's face. So they'll do weird shit, put emojis over his face when they take a picture, no face, no trace, and I'll never share my personal life with you bitches, and all the stuff that they say, until something happens and they be like, here's my dude, oh my god, it's so great. And they cross their fingers and hope nothing else goes downhill from there. There are a lot of guys we don't share shit. Like, I don't like sharing my personal life on social media. An outing, drinking, maybe an event, a couple pictures or a quick video, maybe. But I'm not getting. I don't really like to go too far into my personal life with imagery. I like to keep it personal. You never know what happened in life, you know. You can be famous overnight these days, and you be like, now I have to figure a way to super protect my family until I'm married to get out of the hood instead of just keeping it regular. I'm all about security, and it starts with you. So what's acceptable? What's acceptable in relationships on social media now, or just period? I'm an advocate of keeping your business out of the hands of these platforms. We need to be a little more secure in our mentalities and our emotions as human beings, not just women, not just men. Um, Sometimes we seem to be very insecure, so we want that security by somebody posting about us. Oh, why your friends don't know that you got a girl. Why all your friends don't know that I'm your dude. And to me, that's kind of disgusting. If you guys got something good, roll with it. That's how I look at it. I don't care if your friends know. I don't care if my friends know, and all that. Sometimes it's good to keep your friends out anyway. Sometimes, you know, it's better to wait. Just wait. Let us live life for a little bit as happy as we can in our own bubble before we invite all of these other factors into this bubble of happiness that we have. That's how I look at it. People's mentalities on this is like it's all over the place. But I just go on what I was taking in for the past week. It's getting cold and everybody want to be all booed up and all the stuff like that. So I see a lot of girls who were saying all this bullshit in the summer is talking all this lovey dovey shit because it's getting cold outside. You know, same thing for guys. Some of them don't have enough and they looking for somebody to be up under for the winter time because they don't have their own. Some of you are just genuinely at that point in your life where you feel like you need somebody. So we're all not the same, but I just want to know, like, what's acceptable for relationships via social media. You know, it's uh, it's just alarming how the mentalities of how we utilize social media based on the generations change. Like I see like kids like 12 and 13 kissing their little boyfriend or girlfriend on Instagram and shit like that, and I'm like, this is wild. I'm so in love with my boo, and you be like, no, you're not. You're 13. Then you get into the 18 to 25 ish, 27 bracket of now, and it's like it's all over the place. Some of them are deeply in love with somebody. Some of them are like fuck the other, sex. They all ain't shit and all this other stuff. And then like some of them just they know what they want. Then the older you get into your 30s, of course now people want to start settling down. Well, uh, assuming that you want to start settling down and things like that, a lot of it shifts. So just going through the timeline and seeing a lot of different age brackets of uh boys and girls, men and women, and how they interact on social media amazing me. So I feel like in 10 years everyone's relationships are going to be public, good or bad. They're just going to be comfortable with it because that's what they're used to doing since they were 13, since they were 10. And we're going to say 13 because that's like the legal Facebook platform age. And you know it's a scary place because everybody's going to be living reality TV. Nothing's going to be private anymore. You're not going to be able to build and establish your own personal relationship because your relationship will always be public. And people are waiting. And in the era that we're living in now, you're going to be waiting to give them that information because you want the likes, you want the views, you want the clicks, you want to feel like you're involved in so many other people's lives that you're going to continuously feed them the information that they want because they're watching you. You know, you see people on their lives now and they're getting thousands and thousands of views, and they're not doing nothing but sitting at their table at home eating cereal, talking the dumbest of things. But people are either interested in what they're saying or watching because a lot of other people are watching and they don't want to miss out. They don't want to be like, "Oh, I didn't see that." So I feel like in the future our relationships are it won't be a private thing. People are gonna be attending everybody's wedding via Facebook portal. Like it's gonna get crazy. Like I see it. The turn is close enough. It's close enough. So saying all this, say before I wrap it up, mind your manners via social media. Mind what you say via social media. If you want to talk about something or vent about a topic, try to make it as general as possible. Only few people, if your life isn't public, will know what or who you're talking about, and I feel like that's okay because those are people that are in your inner circle. Sometimes you just need to speak to somebody. Everybody don't have money for a therapist. Everybody don't have a best friend they can really talk to or a family member they can really talk to. And sometimes you just want some clarity on your own. Sometimes you feel like you're wrong and you want to ask a question to the public to see how many people thinks you're wrong too because you need personal clarity. I feel like those things are fine. I just don't feel like you need to share everything about your love life with your significant other 1,000 times over. Every day, every day, every day. Because if you're doing all of the good, you have to do the bad as well. It's a balance. It's a balance. So, women, the women out here who are sharing their relationships over and over and over again because you're so in love, that's good. Do not become upset when the bad things are shared by your significant other too. They may be sharing the good things as well. I'm just saying if something's bad shit because you opened the door for that as far as allowing people into your lives and he's just keeping the cycle going. That's how I look at it. All right, guys, mind your manners. This is a highly flavored podcast. I'm closing it out. This is episode number 12. I believe I'm your host, Eddie Roy. Thank you for tuning in. I will be back next Tuesday with another audio. Visual probably will drop tomorrow. I will try to get this audio out tonight. The people who watched on the Facebook Live, I highly appreciate you. All of the feedback that I was getting via the comments, I really appreciate it. I was trying to read them as I go along, but I didn't really have time to sidestep and sway into further conversation. Um, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And if you have, if you're watching this live, I'll leave it up for a while. Post if you're watching it after, um, and you comment. I'm going to be watching this again later just to see the comments and see if I can pull some more commentary out of it and talk about it at a later date. I will try to do that as well. So, guys, thank you a lot. How do you favorite podcast? This is episode number 12. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. It's a holiday weekend. Thanksgiving coming around. So if you celebrate, guys, have a happy Thanksgiving. Black Friday is coming. If you need my home address and you would like to buy me a gift, please be my guest and inbox me. You can buy me anything that you want, and I will take all gifts. Or if you just want my cash app, you can send me cash too. I'm cool with that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Highly favorite podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Roy. This is episode number 12, and I am gone. See ya.